Hello, and welcome to another episode of Beader. If you don't know me already, my name is Caitlin, and in case you couldn't tell, today we're going to be making Valentine's Day jewelry, and we're going to be learning all about the very interesting origin of candy hearts. So let's get into it. Candy hearts, also known as conversation hearts, sweethearts, or Necco hearts, can find their origin all the way back in 1847. In Boston, a man named Oliver Chase was looking for a way to fast track and industrialize the lozenge industry. So he invented a machine that would roll out these little discs that were the lozenge medicine in sugar for people to take when they had a cough, just like we do now. Eventually, along the line of inventing this machine and finding success in the medicine business, he realized that he could use this exact same machine to make just straight candy. And so he started printing little discs. It is unknown why he decided to start printing messages on discs for sure, but there are a couple of theories. One of the more likely options is that at the time there was another candy that would, when you cracked it open, it had a little piece of paper with a message on the inside, and he wanted to combine those two things. And so he started with round, much larger discs that had much larger little sayings and things on them. And eventually that became smaller and smaller and the messages shorter and shorter, until in 1902, he converted them to being heart-shaped, most likely because around that time the card industry and Valentine's Day was starting to gain steam as a holiday that people were more and more invested in. And that's how we have the candy hearts that we have today. Everyone tends to be very divided on whether they like them or whether they don't like them, but no matter what you think of the taste, they are so cute and an absolute staple of Valentine's Day. So today we are going to make candy heart inspired clay earrings. All of the materials that you need for today's craft can be found on my sponsor's website, Fire Mountain Gems and Beads. They have everything from the clay to the cutting tools to the stamping tools that we're going to be using. Only thing you're going to need to find on your own is an oven. This is a super cute craft and doesn't take very long at all. So let's jump in.
Step 1. You're going to gather all of your supplies and your materials. First thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pick which color that you want to use. I'm really loving this fuchsia color here, so I think I'm going to go with that. So you're going to take a little bit out. You're not going to need too much. That's even probably more than I'm going to need here, but just want to have enough to work with, and you're just going to start working it in your hands. You have to kind of get it warm before it starts to work. So after you've worked it a little bit and it feels like it's a good consistency, this looks good to me, nice spread on it, we are going to take it and rub it in your hands like this. You're going to make a nice round adjacent ball here. What we're going to want to do is we're going to flatten it. So in order not to get it stuck to whatever surface you're working on, place some sort of layer of plastic. I'm just using this little plastic bag that I pulled one of the clays out of. And then you're going to grab another piece of plastic and you're going to set it on top here. Use a surface like a book. So I'm just taking my notebook here. And if you double layer plastic on both sides, you don't have to worry about what you're using to flatten it. Just take literally any flat surface and you're just gonna press down. Try and do even pressure across the board to get it nice and flat when we peel it up here. And then you can take your plastic off. See, it's not perfect, but it's much better than if we tried to do it just straight by hand. So I'm just gonna go ahead and flip this over here because I think this side looks a little bit better. And now we can use our cookie cutters. What we're gonna do here is we're just gonna push down into the clay. Then you can remove this excess and we're just going to set that aside. It's going to go back in the bag with its friends over here. We'll probably end up using it to make the second candy heart here in a minute. Now this part, you want to very delicately push it out. That way you don't get too many lines or surfaces in there. I know you're probably thinking, what in the world is she going to use these square ones for? You know, hearts aren't square shaped, but hearts, shaped like this. We're going to be making this angle on both sides here. So you can either take it like this and go here and make your own angle. I don't trust myself to make those even enough for my liking, so I'm gonna kind of go this way instead. And now, see, we have our tip. So now all that's left is to make the top of our heart, this part right here. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna take the same angle here, and I'm gonna go it like this and make that down part of the heart there. And so see, now it kind of looks like a 8-bit blocky heart, but here's where a little bit more touch comes in. I'm just gonna pick my little heart up here, and I'm just gonna give it a little love. I'm just gonna round out those corners, and see, that's already looking more like a more traditional shaped heart. Just be gentle as you do this. So now the next step is gonna be to stamp our message in it. The great thing about this kit, which you can get on Fire Mountain Gems and Beads, is that they have it's all lined up and nice and easy to read. So we're just gonna come in here. We're gonna press down, but not too hard because I don't want the circle to show up too much. The circle did show up a little bit, but not enough that I think I'm gonna worry about it. These are homemade, so they just need to show love. So see, it doesn't take very much pressure at all to make those letters. Don't be super concerned about making them look perfect or even. If you buy a bag of candy hearts, you'll see that they're not perfectly centered or even anyway. But once you get your letters, we're also going to need to make a hole for it to go through on the earring. So what we're gonna do here is we are actually going to take a safety pin. Please be very careful with this part. Don't poke yourself. I suggest starting through on something and then going back through the other side. So if you want it to hang straight through the center, you're gonna pick here. That's kind of what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that just right above my E here. And see, it pushes all the way through, and very gently pull it out, and then just make sure to pick it up and make sure, see, it didn't come quite all the way through, but you can see it a little bit. So what you're gonna do is you're going to go back through on the back side. Again, please be gentle and careful so that you don't hurt yourself here. Now you just have to make the second one. Once your oven is preheated to 250, we're going to put them in. You are going to cook them for 10 minutes, and then you're gonna turn the oven off and leave them in the oven until the oven cools down completely on its own. That may take a couple of hours, but this is a super important part of the process. You don't want to touch them when they're hot at all. This is what they look like once they are cooled and completely ready to finish. We are going to attach our earring backs on. If you're using a different kind of earring loop, you may need a jump ring, but you should be able to sort that out. But these that we're using are just simple hoops. Just going to open the loop, and you don't even have to pull very much, just enough to stick it through the earring back here. And there are your finished earrings.
And there you have it, adorable staple earrings for any Valentine's Day activity that you're doing. Whether you're going out with some friends or your significant other or just going to work, everyone will love your candy heart earrings, and you could tell them you made it yourself. These would also make an excellent gift for a special someone on Valentine's Day, particularly because you can personalize them entirely. You can put initials on them, say love whoever. You can really make it all your own. So please be sure to like and subscribe to this video if you enjoyed it, and hit that notify button so that you never miss a thing. If you have questions, definitely leave those below. I'm happy to answer any that you have, as well as check out my website and my sponsor's website, Fire Mountain Gems and Beads. I hope that you had the best time with me today making these, and that you all have a Valentine's Day that is absolutely full of love, whether that's from your pets, your friends, your family, or your significant other.